Crossdressing, Comming Out. Question. Mine is a question open to all and contemplated by many of the girls that haven't done so yet. What is the best way to come out to the ones close to you? I find this harder to do than to someone I barely know. Reply. The only way you can do so is to be totally honest to them. If you try to hide anything, there is always the possibility that they will be thinking, what else do you have to hide? Be truthful and honest. Also, be prepared for angry responses and to be rejected and ridiculed. Now, these may not all happen. However, it is better to prepare for the worst, rather than to expect everybody to welcome this news with open arms. If you find that those close to you are acceptable, even if somewhat reluctantly, then that is a fantastic bonus. It is also something that you may well be able to build on. Reply. From one who knows through not following my own advice. Honesty is the best policy. Especially to those adults and nearest and dearest to you. It isn't anyone else's business unless you want it to be. Reply. Warning. If you can cope with losing your family, being ostracized, never being welcome, being called it, being alone, fed up, depressed, even suicidal. On the good side, just perhaps they'll accept. My 2 penneth. Tell one of the family only. The one you get on with. Share a bond. Get their reaction first and then evaluate whether to tell the rest. Reply. I told my dad and he was more than great. Then, my brother, he was also brilliant. I just wish I could have told my wife before she found out. Reply. I think who you tell does depend on where you're going with it all. Now, I'm just a part-time TV. I see no reason to tell my parents, so I haven't. As they're about 120 miles from me, they aren't going to be popping round and finding out by accident. I have told some of my friends though. Although it was fairly stressful telling the first one, it got easier the more I told. All who know don't have any issues with it, which is lucky for me. The only advice I can think of is not to try to tell them everything about it all in one go. Tell them what you are and leave it at that. Don't go into a long rambling monologue. This is what I did the first time I told a friend, and I think I confused the hell out of him. If they want to know more, they'll ask. Reply. Given that you're already out to your partner, that's probably the hardest bit done already. Telling friends is different though. I guess you have to ask yourself, why should I? In my own case, I'd started going out regularly as Trisha, having my friends from here over for drinkies. I found that my very best friend wasn't getting as much of my time as previously. I found myself lying to him. When it was BNO night and he fancied going out for a beer or whatever, and I just felt that that was wrong. His friendship is too important to me for that. I did agonize over it for ages. However, in the end I was spurred on by my wife. She pointed out that if he threw a shit fit, then he really wasn't the guy I thought I knew. If he couldn't handle it, he probably wasn't worth knowing. Blunt, I know, but in the end true. What I did do in the end was arrange to go and see him. This was at a time that I knew he's been on his own. I took my wife along for moral support. Then I basically just told him the bare facts. This was with the viewpoint that if he asked any questions, and I mean ANY questions, I'd reply honestly. So that is what I did. He was perfectly fine with it even after I'd answered his questions and comments on sexuality and so on. I'm not totally sure he is completely the right end of the stick. But now he knows, and I think, if anything, we're better friends than before. One thing I did do was to take some photos with me. This was mostly to demonstrate to him that this was something I took seriously and put a lot of effort into. I think he was a bit taken aback. However, at least he didn't burst out laughing.